Good morning on this wintry Friday. The holidays are in full swing at the Little White House. Gracie Mansion, the museum and mayoral residence on the Upper East Side, is dressed up each December, ushering in a season of formal benefit dinners, large open houses and intimate dance parties. It's the busiest time of year for the 18th century house, which will welcome around 10,000 visitors this month. We visited the mansion on a recent frosty evening to take in the decor designed by Raffinelli Events, which twice trimmed the Obama White House for the holidays. The company's work at Gracie Mansion this year set out to reflect New York values and the initiatives of the First Family. We began our visit in the Wagner Foyer, the home's entrance, led by Gabrielle Fialkoff, a senior advisor to the mayor. She pointed out her favorite adornment, plushy logs and mitten trees made out of 650 pairs of Michael Kors gloves and scarves. Nearby, in the blue room, tabletop Christmas trees made of yellow school pencils and red and green crayons. A wink to Mayor Bill de Blasio's Pre-K for All program sit atop a table in the center of the room. All of the materials used to make the decorations throughout the house will be donated to local charities after the holidays, Ms. Fialkoff said. The house has served as the official residence of the city's mayor for 75 years. Every mayor but one, Michael R. Bloomberg, has lived in the house since Mayor Fiorello H. LaGuardia moved there in 1942. While Mr. de Blasio and his wife, Chirlane McCrae, live in a private residence on the second floor, they also use the mansion for business, which means the house is a beehive of activity. As we wandered past wreaths and strings of Christmas lights, aides shuffled through stately rooms. The kitchen staff sent out ginger tea and prosciutto-wrapped melon for a meeting between the First Ladies of New York and Anchorage, Alaska. And Paul Gunter, the executive director of the Gracie Mansion Conservancy, which maintains the house, stopped by to welcome us. In years past, Mr. Gunter told us, the First Lady has traditionally acted as a hostess and greeter and concerned herself with the comfort of the First Family, the running of the house, and its decor including the holiday decorations. I certainly have not confined what I do to those tasks, Ms. McCrae said in an interview. Her $850 million mental health initiative, her independent nonprofit group and other work have made her arguably the most influential First Lady in our city's history. I would say the role that I play at Gracie Mansion reflects the person that I am, she said. While she has set aside some traditions of the First Lady, like figuring out daily meal plans, Ms. McCrae kept a hand in this year's holiday decor. She'll also be welcoming hundreds of visitors to her home this month and joining in on the holiday merriment. She was no stranger to the dance floor during the disco party thrown for the security staff in the ballroom last year. We're told so many people work so hard, sometimes without pay, to make our city function and make it a better place, she said. All these people bring a special glow to the holidays as well. Here's what else is happening. Your front door wreath will look extra Christmassy with the light dusting of snow we're expecting this afternoon. You might also feel like jolly old St. Nick. Polar temperatures are in the forecast. The high will be a chilly 31. It will jump above freezing this weekend, and we're not expecting any more of the fluffy stuff until next week. This week's Metropolitan cover story: a few dozen of New York's passenger elevators are still manually operated, forming a hidden museum of obsolete technology. New York Times: a Bronx councilman is facing an ethics inquiry over inappropriate comments made to a staffer. New York Times: 2 men have been charged in the 2015 killing of the rapper Chinks. New York Times: 15 inmates on Rikers Island have been indicted on charges that they planned and carried out an attack on a correction captain. New York Times fans of Saturday Night Fever gathered to celebrate at a space recreated to look like the disco from the iconic 1970s movie. New York Times New Yorkers are raising concerns about the way the city will cope with the absence of the L train, a line that carries 400,000 people every day. New York Times After years in foster care, an ambitious student gets a shot at pursuing his dream of going to college after a chance encounter with a city council member. New York Times The city's longest-serving garbage collector is about to start his 52nd year on the job and is 5 years from becoming the oldest city sanitation worker in history. New York Post An 18-month investigation found serious failures at nearly every level of New Jersey's patchwork system of medical examiner offices. NJ.com In About New York, the columnist Jim Dwyer tells that some transit officials are coming around to the idea that real estate owners who get rich thanks to the subways should contribute to the cost of new transit system projects. Today's Metropolitan Diary, helping two friends find each other. For a global look at what's happening, see your morning briefing. Peruse the gifts at the Park Life Holiday Market in Gowanus, Brooklyn. 5 to 10 p.m. Open through Sunday. Free to browse. Learn about the pagan rituals of holiday traditions and get an astrological forecast for 2018 at Winter Myths at the Brooklyn Historical Society in Brooklyn Heights. 5 to 9 p.m. Free editors from the New York Times, the Washington Post and the New Yorker discuss their craft at a panel at the New School in Greenwich Village. 6:30 p.m. Free sing-along to carols and classic holiday songs at a performance by the Orchestra of St. Luke's at the Domena Center for Classical Music in Midtown Manhattan. 7 p.m. Free Rangers host Kings. 7 p.m. Message. Nets at Raptors. 7:30 p.m. Yes. Watch the New York Times Close-Up, featuring the Times' Roger Cohen and other guests. Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 1:30 p.m. and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on CUNY TV. Alternate side parking remains in effect until December 25. Weekend travel hassles. Check subway disruptions and a list of street closings. Saturday an exhibition from more than a dozen local artists. Whimsical Winter Wonder. Exhibition at the Poe Park Visitor Center in the Bronx. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Free. The Instant Shakespeare Company performs a reading of The Winter's Tale at Riverside Library on the Upper West Side. 1 p.m. Free. A candlelight concert of Baroque music, Music for Yuletide, performed by the Queen's Consort, at St. Mark's Church in Jackson Heights, Queens. 7 p.m. Tickets start at $15. An evening of stargazing in celebration of the approaching winter solstice at the Alley Pond Environmental Center in Little Neck, Queens. 7 p.m. $16 Rangers at Bruins, 5 p.m. Message +2. Icelanders host Kings, 7 p.m. Message Plus. Devils host Stars, 7 p.m. Message Plus. Knicks host Thunder, 7:30 p.m. Message. Sunday look for waterfowl on a birding tour at the Salt Marsh Nature Center in Marine Park, Brooklyn. 10 a.m. Free. A performance of The Gift of the Magi by the Queen's Opera Theatre at Flushing Town Hall in Queens. 2 p.m. $16 puppet shows and an olive press workshop at the Hanukkah Carnival in Flatbush, Brooklyn. 1:30 p.m. $5 Explore the Putnam Trail by candlelight beginning at the Van Cortlandt Golf House in Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. 5 p.m. Free Giants host Eagles, 1 p.m. Fox. Jets at Saints, 1 p.m. CBS. Nets host Pacers, 6 p.m. Yes. For more events, see the New York Times' Arts and Entertainment Guide. With the holidays upon us, you may soon find yourself visiting relatives in one of the more rural corners of the country, hiking the backlands, chopping firewood, or, perhaps, throwing an axe. If that's the case, and you'd rather not come off as an inept city slicker, you're in luck. New York City's first axe-throwing site is opening today. Kick Axe, a 7,000 square foot center in Gowanus, Brooklyn, has 10 throwing ranges. A lumberjack-themed photo area, malt beverages, and axe-throwing experts on hand to give you the basics. It's bringing a little more charm to a neighborhood already in the midst of a renaissance. In case you're rusty on the rules, axe throwing is like dart's more daring cousin. Players chuck dulled hatchets at a wooden bullseye in an attempt to make them stick. It's edgy and dangerous, seemingly, though we take the proper safety precautions, said Ginger Flesher-Saunier, the owner of Kick Axe. She discovered the pastime while visiting Toronto and decided to bring it to New York. It was so satisfying when it stuck in the wood, she said, recalling her first throw. It was such a release. A 75-minute session in a private lane costs $35 per person, with an online reservation and a group of 6 to 12. Those coming with smaller groups, or throwing solo, can walk in and pay $28, though you may be paired with other groups. According to the website, you must wear closed-toed shoes, and high heels are not allowed. Plaid shirts are not required. New York Today is a morning roundup that is published weekdays at 6 a.m. If you don't get it in your inbox already, you can sign up to receive it by email here. For updates throughout the day, like us on Facebook. What would you like to see here to start your day? Post a comment, email us at newyorktoday@newyorktimes.com, or reach us via Twitter using number NYToday. Follow the New York Today columnists Alexandra Levine and Jonathan Wolfe on Twitter. You can find the latest New York Today at newyorktoday.com.